Here we are. All right, here we are. Zhuzhing up this hair a bit. Okay.
You can't really feel like you're missing out on anything because no one's doing anything.
This is true. FOMO is gone.
Yeah.
Eliminated from our heart.
What I found interesting, especially being an artist, is like there's no competition happening. No one's auditioning. No one's making, no projects are happening. So like I feel like the aura of competition has dissipated and everyone is just like living their most authentic life right now.
Yeah, that's true. So I am in Brooklyn, New York.
And who are you cohabitating with anybody or are you by yourself?
I'm cohabitating with Raymond the cat.
Hi, Raymond.
Do you see him?
Yes.
And my husband, Alec Cohen.
Yeah. And how has that been going for you guys?
It's been going okay. So we're talking on a very important day, Kelsey, because today is day 40 for me in quarantine.
Wow.
I was sick for 2.5 weeks. And
my gosh.
My quarantine started in early March. And little did I know when I had a flu in March that shortly thereafter, everything would turn out as it has.
Wow.
And of course, in early March, we still can't get tested right now. So in early March, it was just stay at home and like work it out. But it was rough. That was a rough. And I wasn't sure if it was corona or not, but then I read that one of the symptoms is losing your sense of smell and taste completely.
Oh, wow.
And I had that. And I never had that. Like, when you have a cold and you kind of can't smell it because your nose is all mucousy and stuff like that. It was not like that. It was like completely gone, like nothing.
Because it was the flu season, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So when did you start to feel better?
Oh, maybe like 2 weeks ago. And I was really in the dumps. Everything hurt. Like your freaking pinky fingernail was in pain, it was ridiculous. Like I've not been sick like this. I had pneumonia once as an adult, and that was comparable in terms of zero energy, full body pain, like no zest for life. Like I would get up in my little robe, and like my husband would make me a fruit salad, and I would like eat the fruit salad, couldn't taste anything, be like, this is shit. All of this is shit. Oh my gosh. Like crawl back in bed. I watched a ton of gardening shows. I think I watched all of the OA. It's kind of like a fever dream. I'm like, did I watch all of the OA? We don't know. Let's look at the browsing history. I definitely watched some stuff, and I but that was kind of it. And I have no recollection of that time. If I emailed you something bizarre, forgive anybody who's watching this. If I've done something to you in that time, please forgive. And then I had kind of like a moment of, I would say, like grieving, like a lot of people are experiencing, of all the projects that were lost or bumped back, the people that are, just like in peril right now, thinking about also just how New York, and our city is impacted by that, which was news were starting to come in like 2.5 weeks ago about that. And that was just like, there was a moment of like feeling very paralyzed and feeling very hopeless for sure, And then I think kind of like after day 20 of quarantine, I was like, let's not give any fucks anymore. Like, here we go. We have to do something. Yeah. So I went through kind of like this roller coaster, of like being terribly ill, then nothing of anything. And then I got this burst of energy and I was like, let's go.
Even before the quarantine period, I always felt really good if I was busy, if I had things to look forward to, even if it was just like a yoga class that I signed up for. I like having a routine and something to look forward to for the next day. Has that burst of energy given you the same thing, or are you approaching it in a different way?
I totally relate to what you're saying with routine. And I think I had to create some kind of a routine inside of my home, which I'm hashtag blessed. I have a 2-bedroom in Brooklyn. I'm not, in a bad situation. I have a fire escape that I started gardening on.
Amazing.
I'm like, I bought myself some fake grass and
I love
tied it to my fire escape. And then I also got some real plants, and I love them. I mean, I love a leaf.
So awesome. I totally agree. I built myself a little plant or a little garden out in our yard, and I also started composting because it's really good to have that sort of soil for your garden. But again, these are only things you can do when you have a yard. So
yeah. Well, if I start composting on the fire escape, my building might go ham on me. They may try to evict me. But the garden, that's kind of like how I started watching gardening shows. There's a really great, it's like the equivalent of the British baking show but for gardening.
Okay.
It's called Big Dreams, Small Spaces. It's with a British gentleman called Monty Don. And Monty Don, it was on Netflix, and Netflix made the horrible decision to take it off of Netflix in March, March 20th. Bad, but you can Google it, Big Dreams, Small Spaces, Monty Don, and you can find it on Daily Motion. That just makes me happy to wake up and look at that. And then in terms of routines, like you were saying, I had to establish some stuff for myself, and I did.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I found it really interesting talking to different people about how they are coping with this whole period of time. And I find it really interesting that some people are like, I just can't. I can't get off my couch. Like, I feel good just snuggling in and hunkering down and isolating myself from the world. And then people are on the total opposite end of the spectrum, which it sounds like you are, where you need a routine, you need to be creating things. So I think that people are certainly dealing with this in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I totally agree. And we have to do it how it makes sense for us. I'm also in a position like so many artists, right? Like, we don't have safety nets in terms of like a lot of
salaries or stuff like that.
Yeah, but we can't even access unemployment right now because as a freelancer, you've never been able to get unemployment in the United States. You've always only been able to get that with an employer. And yes, they've opened that up now
with the pandemic.
If you've never had a profile, there's millions and millions of people trying to call that unemployment line right now. You're not getting through. I mean, I don't want to discourage anyone, but it is a nightmare. So even the things that are put in place for artists right now, I think people are scrambling, and I had to come up with ideas to keep my project and my community and growing media empire, should we call it that?
Let's.
And in New York, we're crafty and we're tough, and we have to figure stuff out. And so I did. And I am trying things. Right now, I'm also, something that I talked about with a friend, and I really loved that advice. My friend Stina said, just try a ton. Try a ton of different things. Because you don't know what works right now. We don't know what kind of future we're going to walk back out in when we can leave our homes. You have to try. Subway Book Review is the thing that I created 6 years ago in May. Yeah, so Subway Book Review at Subway Book Review on Instagram. We're a platform for people who love to connect to other people through stories. We interview people about the books they're reading and the life that they're living. And we usually do that in the undergrounds around the world. I started it in New York and have contributors in other cities worldwide, but we can't go underground right now. And so I was asking myself, what are the things that are meaningful right now and that can continue, which, Subway Book Review is about connection and meaningful conversations. So I was like, you know what, girl, you've been dreaming about having your own talk show since the day you were born. Just do it on live stream. Act like it's a full-on talk show. Just treat it that way, and do it with the means that you have. cool people doing cool things who we need to know from what they're reading, of course, like Alison Roman, who's a chef who we all love and have probably made her
Dishes.
stew or, the caramelized shallot pasta thing. So yeah, entertainers and comedians and actors and just all kinds of amazing artists and activists and people who I want to hear from, like people with a vision. Those are people who like to think about humanity. Let's hear about what they're reading and how they're living life.
I love that. And that makes me so happy to hear. And I'm so excited to see that happening. I have to tell you, I've joined 2 book clubs since the quarantine has started, and it's so exciting. First of all, it's nice to be able to see your friends and have, some sort of human interaction throughout all this.
Yes.
But it's also nice because, we're not just talking about the stories that we're reading, but the stories that we're hearing through podcasts or seeing through movies and just sharing, it's a whole melting pot of, what you can tap into.
And I think that the habits that we develop now out of necessity can become healthy habits for life. Right. And that is to cook meals with the people we love, to get on the phone and ask how someone's doing. The book industry right now is really forced to change their ways. And I think that's going to be a great opportunity when we're all back out, because there are also things that had to change, right? Like I just literally pressed publish, and we now have, for the very first time, I'm so excited. Are you ready? We now have a digital bookshop. Subway Book now has a bookshop.
So fun.
Yeah, because there's now finally an alternative to Amazon.com. Check it out, but go to bookshop.org/Subway Book Review, because then what they're doing is they are supporting indie bookstores. They're giving 10% of all sales to indie bookstores who are signed up with them. And if you're a bookshop owner, like I am now, which I'm so thrilled by, you also get 10% of the sales. So they're supporting truly the people who are making reading happen. And making this exchange around stories happen. And I think that's just so cool. I'm like, finally, they're in beta. They're not even fully launched, but they've already raised like almost $500,000 for indie bookstores.
Wow.
Amazing.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. What are some things people can do to either get involved or help the organization out?
There's so many things. And I think this is also true for other artists and other places, like just in general, when you think about support, it doesn't always have to be money. It's nice if it's money, but it doesn't have to be money. If you can make a donation to an artist you love right now or a community you love, of course, please do it. If you have a job and you have an income, you sharing that income is the most beautiful thing that you can do. And I promise you, just karmically, that's going to come back to you tenfold.
Absolutely.
That's kind of like one way, right? Subscribe to a newsletter and become a newsletter subscriber. That counts. Like that's going to count when we're coming out of this. Follow someone, share a profile, right? Like send it to all your friends and say, hey, follow them. They're doing cool stuff. In the case of SBR specifically, you can watch SBR Live on Wednesdays at 6 and on Sundays at 4 p.m. on Instagram. That's so great because creating right now is hard. It takes so much energy. And it's, you can do so much with so little,
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I think showing up, it doesn't have to be every day. I think people are overwhelmed that, many things are happening every day. I don't think you have to be doing something every day to show your support, but once a week, check in, find a different organization to do a class with or listen along with. I think all of those things are really important.
It's so much about sustaining yourself right now. I think we really don't, I think we kind of forget that, yes, this experience is similar in that for the first time ever, most of humanity is doing something together at the same time.
Right.
I mean, let that melt on your tongue for a second. That alone is like, that's wild. If you really think about that, that's wild. Like, if you think about that, scientists are currently working together to find a cure. But that's an easy sentence to say. But that is a spectacular achievement, and how humanity should operate together, right? Is to say, well, maybe you've done yoga with this person forever. Could it be nice to watch them one day a week and then see if there's a new instructor who you love to dance with another time, right? It's like, we're now saying, well, yes, we're doing everything together, but within that, there's so much variety. It's an amazing time to get away from the hyper influencer highway and to, you know, just like you shop local, like support local.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I get it. If you're sick, of course, like rest, relax, and make whatever you need to do a priority. But this is a good time to engage. And this is a great time to check in with your neighbors, with your neighborhood, with your city, the artists you love. Tune in. Don't fully check out.
If you're in a place where you can leave your house to go get groceries, I definitely encourage people to buy locally, buy from small businesses, because they really are hurting.
It is challenging to not just go, I'll get it on Amazon, or Fresh Direct is right here.
Yeah.
I get it. And I get that it's also like scary, and, you know, we don't feel like we can trust authorities anymore because of what has happened over the last 4 years. Feels like 6 years. Feels like a lifetime.
Feels like a lifetime.
But I do, you know, I really think that America is freaking exhausted. Like, we've been through so much in the last 4 years. We've done nothing but like fight and resist and try to like build it on our own and like build new ways, because we can't rely on the government. Like, we've done nothing. A lot of us have done nothing but that. We're tired. However, this is an important push right now. And I think that it's also necessary, because we can't go back to how things have been, because they were not working for the majority of Americans anyway.
Right.
So what have you done recently, Kelsey, that has made you very joyful?
So my garden, and it's small. It's like a little 2x4 bed with some herbs in it. But the goal, I see in the future, me being able to just walk outside, pick some tomatoes and cilantro and make myself a little salad. That's sort of the goal.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then I do yoga every day pretty much online, whether I'm doing it myself or taking from somebody else, or I'll take a dance class. But that works for me. I know that doesn't work for a lot of other people, but for me, knowing that I have those things to look forward to that day, that's what brings me joy. So
thank you so much for having me on your video chat. I love it. I've been video chatting a lot, and you're such a fabulous person. Thank you for putting light into this world. And I'm just delighted to see you.
And hopefully we will see each other soon in the flesh.
Yes, please. That sounds good.